この番組はご覧のスポンサーの提供でお送りします。Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo and I am here for Mushishi Zoku Show episodes 13 and 14. I have decided that we are not going to call it second season episodes 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. We're just going to treat it like all of Zoku Show is one season, so I'm going to call these episodes 13 and 14, but they're also second season episodes 3 and 4. Cool? But from here on out, we'll just call them 11, 12, 13, 14, and we're done. Last week on Mushishi, we watched episodes 1 and... fuck! I immediately went back to calling it by the other way. It's because my files they say second season episodes 1 and 2. Fuck. In episode 11, or the first season of Zoku Show, see, now it's more complicated and I fucked up. I don't know what to do. We started off, if Nui was Ginkgo's initial mother character, we meet Suguro as he's wandering the woods trying to figure out who he is and what his purpose is, who acts as very much a father figure to him. We meet this boy Ginkgo who is known as a bringer of disaster, a harbinger of bad stuff, because Mushi follow him around, and he meets the father figure of Suguro. And I actually skimmed through the episode just a few minutes ago, and realized as I did so, just sort of skimming through it, how many scenes in that episode are just Ginkgo with Suguro walking through some field or something, just walking together. This very archetypal look at a guide or a father or someone to learn from. And he does. He spends some time there learning from Suguro, but with this air and this knowing that he has to move on at some point. But there's also a bit of a strange thing going on, which is that the Mountain Lord, the symbol or emblem of natural order, is falling apart, is dying, and they're waiting for a new one to be born. A passing of the torch in one sense, while we have a passing of information and of symbolic authority in another sense, as Suguro is teaching Ginkgo. And Ginkgo ends up in this wonderfully archetypal story of temptation. He is tempted to power as he holds the egg of the new Mountain Lord, and he gives up that temptation, but just the act of being tempted and the freaking out that he has, the jump that he has, causes him to shatter it and break it. And that leads to a really interesting sort of metaphysical experience for him as he sees the river of light, and we discover truly that he cannot get so close to it as he would want to, which seems to, it resonates in some kind of way with me. But he is also seemingly sort of forgiven by the Mushi, who accept the brokenness of the egg and return to their own internal order. But Suguro, his sort of father figure, cannot forgive him, cannot accept it, and thus sends him out to find his own way in the world, but does so in a compassionate way, telling him that while he cannot forgive the actions that he's taken, he does believe that there is a place for Ginkgo out there. And so that was a pretty powerful episode. I think that was a pretty freaking good one that told us a lot about Ginkgo's past as a character and who he has become and how he got there. It's not as though it draws a direct line and shows us, oh, this is everything that Ginkgo's learned. He learned it all from Suguro. But it shows us a crucial step in his journey that I'm very glad to have witnessed. So pretty darn awesome. Then we watched episode 2, Time Travel. But spooky. Repeat through the smelly tunnel, and then you get to live your life again, and that's pretty tempting, the idea of being able to stay in that existence. But eventually the man who keeps going through it, after figuring out what's going on, decides to live his life on and experience the future and see his daughter grow up, until his wife falls off a cliff and is dying, and so he saves them both, and now they're both stuck in the loop. I thought it was a really cool episode. I love the time travel concept. I love the way that Mushir integrated into it. I love the way it's revealed to us. I have no idea what to think about where that story is going in the future, and I don't exactly know what to really take away from it. There are definitely elements to take away about the love of that simple life and the respect that you should have toward your own life. But then there's this like weird temptation to pervert the natural order of things and go back again and experience again. And then when tragedy strikes, the temptation reemerges, right? Like he was totally okay with living out his life with his wife until they die of natural causes and watching their daughter grow up and having a normal life that ends. But when it actually hits him in the face and he is threatened by the loss of his wife, he goes back into the tunnel, and chooses that fate for her as well. And that's kind of weird and thought provoking, but I don't know exactly what to take away from it. So, cool episode. And that was what we watched last week on Mushishi Zoku Show. Couple of really powerful fucking episodes, man. Okay, there are 8 more. Let's go for the next one. Mushishi Zoku blah blah blah. Mushishi Zoku Show episode 13, or Zoku Show 2 episode 3, or season 3 episode 3. Great. I've got that episode up and ready to go. It's at 0 seconds. There will be 2 versions as usual. Picture-in-picture version with the video up there will be available in the description. Timer on YouTube. Beep beep timer to count you down. Let's get into it. No idea what to expect here. Except shiver. No shiver. Okay, never mind. Fuck me. We got children. We got real emphasis on shadows. They playing shadow tag? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay. Faceless little girl. Left alone by her friends. Oh, who's this? Who's walking up behind you? Ah! Nobody! Fuck that. But it also has the same haircut she does, right? So it's a mushi of some kind, right? Has to be. Has to be. Lingering crimson and everything has been colored in sunset pinks. Did she just insta-age? Wait, what? No, home is this way. Oh, what? Did she just, like, did she get trapped in the Mushi tunnel thing or something? Like, what the fuck? Ginkgo? Hi. Dase. I got all the tea. I've been doing this more frequently. Oh, hi. You alright, Bajan? No. Oh. Yeah, very. Basan, sorry. I don't know. Oh, okay. Cool. The other one was Akane, right? Ikage. How did she? How did she end up all the way over there? Didn't she end up at, like, a different village? Yeah. Dementia or Mushi? Okay, that was my first thought too, but yeah, but it can't be. I mean, this is a Mushishi episode. It's a cool attitude. They're so great. Hmm. Yeah, Genko's just awkward here. Uh, I love them. I love them so much. Cool, cool. Oh. What? Oh, okay. Oh. Is that just straight Mushi tobacco that he's burning? Damn right, I got the goopers out. Whatever the fuck those are. Oh, that was actually a great little cut. Yeah, that'll be $10,000. Oh, and another 2,500 for the herbs that I spend. Yeah. Hmm. Oh, that's a wrinkle. Mikage doesn't know her past at all. Oh. Was it like the same day that Akane disappeared? Looks like it might have been. Okay. Did she appear at the same age? Like, what did she switch with? Is there some kind of switch? Bye. Bye. Oh, is that him? We didn't see this. Mm. That was so cute. So cute. Ooh. Ooh. Oh. Yeah, she was hanging out in the fields. And she just straight up vanished. And he's going to find not her. Different yukata. Different girl. No idea. Right? And she doesn't know who she is. So maybe at some other village, like Akane just appears as herself. Wow, that was gorgeous. No clue, right? I think they just switched. Or something. Weird dimensional portal swapping Mushi. We had time travel Mushi, why not? Okay. Oh. Oh. But she's not his daughter. Hmm. Oh. Haha. Bullying. Oh, it is actually. Oh no. Fuck. Yeah, I just showed up here with no. Oh, the fully faceless. Get wrecked, kid. Get absolutely bodied. Holy shit. Full silent voice style. Oh my goodness. Damn right you accept her after that. She a badass. Okay, but it's still weird. You fell in love, yes. Hmm. Like a weird switch back is gonna happen. That would suck. Got any theories, Ginkgo? Got any Mushi theories? Because I don't know enough to know. It sounds like you got a theory. Your wife is actually a Mushi. No. Okay. 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 So Akane became trapped in that Mushi, and Mikage popped out. Hmm. She's probably still trapped in it unless that shadow went and stood somewhere else and somebody else got traded. Right. So it's possible that some girl who was Akane appeared in some other village. Rip. Weird ass Mushi shit. Me too, man, but that means that she would have had to suck somebody else into the fucking Mushi. Oh no, she heard that. Uh-oh. Is she gonna switch back with Akane? Oh. 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 So she remembers. Dink, 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 dink. Hello. Bop. You're gone. She remembers. Okay. Cool. What are you gonna do about it? Sure, bro. Where's your wife? Oh, sweet. I feel like she's planning something. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, he can see him, kind of. Uh-huh. Cute. Cute. Where's your wife? Where's... Fuck. She's gonna leave. Oh, son, it's dangerous out there. Oh, son. We love you here. She remembers being in the shadow. Whoa. This is when she walked up to Akane. Nobody. And so I will take from you. So she's horrified by her own actions, yeah. It's a pain that's passed on, yeah. Oh. Hmm. But I took it. Yeah. Oh, that's a new meaning to imposter syndrome. So that you could stop being alone, you sacrificed another. you took her from her. Oh boy, the way that he responds to this is gonna change everything. Hmm. Hmm. It still feels bad though. She still did do that. Okay. Okay. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Step on the shadow. Yep. Yep. Sacrifice yourself. Yep. Yeah. No choice, man. I'm stuck here. Yeah. Oh, she couldn't do it to someone else. Oh, buddy, it's your turn. You've lived your full life. It's not fair in any way, but do it anyway. No, you just fell in love with somebody. I think you're gonna have to do it for her. Oh! Akane, the self-sacrifice. There we go. Wow, she chose not to do unto another, even though she could have. Hi, Akane. That's like one of her girlfriends, right? Holy shit. This is a really cool episode. Oh boy. This is a really cool episode. The element of choice there is so creepy and powerful. It's kind of like It Follows in that you can pass the thing on to somebody else. Although I don't think it's a metaphor for an STD. Hmm. The Hidden Cove. Okay. I think this episode is extraordinarily well done. This is 3 for 3 now for this portion of Zoku show, just knocking storylines out of the park. This one is fantastic. The creepiness of the casterless shadow that just shows up there is spooky enough on its own. And if it were a more simple thing where the mushi itself was either malevolent or not really malevolent, but like doing its mushi thing and just sucking people in and letting them go at random, that would on its own be a very interesting story. But it's not that. There's an element of choice to it. And being stuck inside the shadow, being stuck in that darkness, is something that the person stuck inside that darkness can choose to like fix. They can choose to return to the normal world, but only by sacrificing somebody else. That is a powerful notion. And there's something about it that resonates and echoes toward like pain and suffering in a way, I think. We see Akane with like a happy childhood and like a good father, good family, good relationships with all the girls in her place. And we don't know what Mikage's like full past was, but we can assume that she was relatively happy before too. But then she gets into this bad situation where she's stuck in the shadow. And the only way to get into a better situation is to steal it from somebody else, is to steal their very existence from them and force them into the same darkness that you already know. And she makes that choice. And that's a very human, if a bit childish thing to do. It requires an extraordinary degree of compassion and like understanding that you will be causing someone else that pain and being willing to take that pain onto yourself and hold on to it in order to not step on someone else's shadow. That's fucking crazy. That's fucking crazy. And then at the very end, there's this sense that she's unwilling to do it to anyone, even someone who thinks that he is to blame for it, even someone who has had a full life himself, right? And that's the reason, morally, to me, why he should step on her shadow. He has had his full life, he has lived with his wife, and he has lost her. He can take the time, right? He can take that suffering. He can handle it. She's been out there for like 60 years in that shadow. We don't know how long Mikage was in it because there's no aging, right? Within the shadow world or whatever. We don't know how long she was in there. But I don't think it was 60 fucking years. I just don't think so. But that's amazing. That sense of like of loneliness and fear and heartbreak and isolation and like and badness, that bad situation that they are in when they're in the shadow, and the scene where we see her remember her own decision in the past, that she chose to stand on Akane's shadow and entrap her, and it breaks her as Basan, right? It breaks her. She is horrified by her own actions. And I think that moment also rings really true. That moment of remembering things that you might have done as a child or as like someone young that hurt other people. There's something about that rings really true to me. I really, really like this episode. It is a roller coaster of an ep, and I'm really glad that it took all that time to set its whole story up. There's another one where we don't get the OP. There's no Shiver here, and I think it needs every single second that it uses. From all of that, this whole intro sequence, the imagery of the children playing in their big long shadows, and just the way that they look as they're holding their arms up and they've got the thick yukata sleeves, creating these like bigger, almost not quite human looking shadows, is crazy cool. um Who's there? Oh, it's nobody. What the fuck? And then the hard transition to far in the future as she's walking away from her home to find her home. Really interesting. And Ginkgo, of course, is one who walks alone on his own, right? He has always walked alone. And I love how she's just like, yeah, this direction's good enough. That's fine. And because of where we are in the story, we don't know if she's just crazy old lady who's like, oh, yes, my home was that way. Sure. Yes, just keep walking, boy. Come on, come on. No idea. So Ginkgo gets wrapped up in something he does not expect and does eventually find that he can bring her home, which is great. I love the relationship between these two characters. This is, I mean, it's just good writing, I think. I don't think that I can attribute it to like something beyond just some really good writing of an old married couple bickering. There you go, treating me like I've gone senile. Yeah, but I work harder than you dingus. And he's just like side eyeing her and sipping his sake. It's really great. And then, of course, the awkwardness of being the one in the middle of that and like not knowing how serious this conflict is or whether this is just the banter that happens or if they're doing this to like put on a show a little bit. It's hard to say, but of course the meal is delicious and they're eating well and things are great. And they have respect for Mushishi and they have an understanding of stuff. And so he helps them out with some of their minor ailments and that sort of buys him a way to stay. And we see more of how Ginkgo gets by in this world, right? And that's fantastic. And then night comes and he has a query, a question. I love this setting. This one here. It's a classic, a classic, very archetypal setting of where people go and talk about serious stuff in Japanese houses. It's like in starts with a K. Starts with a K show. It's weird and girl has a big hammer. Damn, you'd think I would type in girl big hammer anime and I would probably be able to find the show that I'm looking for, but it's not even in the first like 20. But it is Kyoso Giga is what I'm looking for. There are apparently a lot of anime girls with big hammers, and you know what? I'm okay with it. I don't mind that archetype. Thinking about like Symphogear characters and yeah, no, I don't mind the archetype, but damn, there are a lot. That's kind of crazy. Like Kyoso Giga, tons of scenes of characters sitting right on their porch inside the sliding doors, talking about important things. I like it. I like the scene a lot. It sets up a cool landscape, and then we gray everything out for those classic backgrounds. That's good. It's good. It's just good. Okay, so we get to see a little bit more of an interaction that happens before she disappears, and he is the last one to have seen her before she disappears. And then off goes the hunt, and we find a random girl who we've never met before. Then there's this conversation, and right here at 8:20, there's this head shake that I want to see again, maybe a couple times, because I thought it was gorgeous. Yeah, this. I think this is gorgeous. Now, my eye is drawn to the hair because the hair shakes in like a great way. But what really impresses me about this head shake is the smoothness of the motion and the feeling of three dimensionality and understanding in space of where her nose, eyes, mouth, and like facial features are that creates the like really perfect three-dimensional form moving through space like this, right? Imagining if you're like, I mean, it's what you have to do if you're drawing. I understand, but if you map those features onto like just an orb and it's moving like this, you can see that happen in this cut in just a really stellar way. And it's amazing to me that it's on twos because it looks way smoother than being on twos. But it's the little things like the shadow under her eyes that is this shadow here that's actually there depending on where your light source is. I've got light sources right in front of me. So if I'm here, you don't actually have that shadow, but if I tilt down, you see it, right? But that moves as she moves. The bit of shadow that creates her nose is like it's created and it's right. The little gap in her lips that is the point of like light on her lips also functions perfectly. This is just a really impressive little cut to me. It feels really coherent and like really really well done. I'm gonna check Sakugabaru now and see if this cut is on there. I doubt that it is, because a lot of like not a lot of cuts get uploaded from Mushishi, but I would love to know who people think animated this. Oh, also, I don't know how the naming scheme for Mushishi Zokusho would be. Yeah, there's only one page of cuts from Zokusho. Oh, okay. So they're listed as source 11, source 12, source 13, and there aren't any from source 13. Okay. So there are no Zokusho cuts from episode this episode. That sucks. That's unfortunate. I would love to know who people think animated this. It's a really simple cut, but that belies its complexity, I think. It's got a lot of complexity to it as well. So the father character makes a really interesting choice, which is that he eventually adopts her. That's pretty powerful. And she says much later that she's very happy about this, and that's really quite beautiful. But of course, she's an outsider, right? She feels like a fully an outsider, and her now adopted father gives her a hair tie, right? And he is super resentful of that. Stop trying to be Akane, you know? And she fucking, I love the way that she just yeets this thing. Wham! I think there's one frame that's all of the motion here. Yeah, there. So there's the like pulling back into it, and her whole body is a part of this motion. It's got real force to it for throwing like not a thing, and then the follow through is huge and very flowy and super emotional look here. Honestly, really reminiscent of something from some Ghibli film. I don't know which one. But the like hair that sort of spikes out as this character is looking down at us at our camera angle. There's a moment in one of the Ghibli films that looks exactly like this, and I wonder if it's like they took that inspiration from it. It might be Spirited Away. I'm not sure, because she's got sort of the same frill of like spiky-ish hair Chihiro does, but I don't know. It might be in something else. Yeah, I don't know. I can't find it. I can't find exactly what I'm thinking of, and that's totally okay. There are a lot of cuts and scenes in Ghibli movies that could be what I'm thinking of, and I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is this is a very cool moment, and I find it very familiar. Um, and then this scene and the back and forth I think is great. We come to him and he's just got nothing to say, and I think this is a great visual depiction of that. Lips become so thin that they don't exist anymore, and he's just completely shocked, right? It's like he fully doesn't understand anything of her internal world. He's just mad on his own. You sort of like you resent somebody or you feel like angry about something that they're doing, and then you confront them about it, and they've got a completely different perspective on it than you do. It's like, oh, oops, fuck. Maybe we should have communicated that beforehand. So this is the start of that communication, and they have a little fight, and she whomps him, just pushes him down, fully not expecting it, and you see the like fear in his eyes. His eyes go wide. He's just like, "Oh shit! I have opened a can of worms, and I am getting my ass whooped. What the fuck?" And she's just sort of laying into him. Definitely reminiscent of the fight scene from A Silent Voice. Definitely reminiscent in some way, except going very much the other direction. He's and she's just crying and freaking out. And of course, this leads us into accepting her. All right, she has a personality, and she's damn willing to stand up for herself. Yeah, no, Mikage, you're cool. You're cool. You can come hang out for sure. And so they do, and eventually they fall in love and become married and have their life together. But then things change as she begins to remember home. But it's not really like her desire to go home. It's her desire. There's something like off. There's something that's unrectified, that's unsolved and unfixed within her. And she seems, that's how I'm reading it at least. And she seems to want to go and fix it. And I think that means going and finding the shadow thing and trading herself back for Akane, but she never gets the chance. But I get the feeling that that's really what she's going for. And when she decides to set out on that expedition, on that voyage, is when it all hits her and the whole memory hits her and she understands what she would have to do. And that breaks her because she realizes that she has caused great suffering over a long time for someone else, right? That she swapped into a shadow somewhere and doesn't know who swapped with her, right? It's some person, no idea who it is. Doesn't know who swapped with her, but she knows how she felt in that moment and she wants to go and rectify it. But she puts on this face like it's not like an impulse like her previous expeditions have just been impulsive, like, okay, I'm going home now. This is premeditated and planned. She's escaping. She's sneaking out and waiting for Ginkgo to be gone and waiting for her husband to go fishing. And then she's going to make it. She's going to go somewhere. She has to. That's really interesting to me. That, I don't know, something about that is really interesting to me. And this scene does such a great job because at this point I'm like, uh-oh, she definitely saw, she's definitely planning something, and then she's playing this character perfectly, right?
夕方までには戻るからな。
はいはい。いってらっしゃい。
Hi, hi. Ha, 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 ha. Almost a little bit creepy in a way as she's planning something. I love this little montage of Ginkgo helping people and his like shocked expression as this one guy is able to see something about the mushi, right? Whoa, crazy. Oh, hey, that worked. Just working, oh no, that's just a bruise. Just a little clip of almost like 4 coma comedy. I imagine that in the manga that's just a few panels of almost like a 4 coma scene of little goofiness, and I think that's great. So we return and we find that she is gone and he freaks, and so we follow. But she sees her past and she remembers as she's taking this journey, her own journey within the shadow. This moment, but feeling like she's a person, finding someone and preying upon her, taking it. Why don't we play together? No, how about I take your life? Pow! And she is overcome by this sorrow and regret for her own actions when younger. What a horrible thing, something that she can't really solve, right? A mistake that she made that has led to all of her life, right? That she deeply regrets because it hurt somebody else, but it has led to everything that she has had. And so she's willing to sacrifice it all and walk away. And then, of course, we have the interaction. Do you really want to go home that badly? No, that's not it. I love you all. I was so happy, but it shouldn't have been me. I took this. I took it from an innocent girl. I wanted it, and I took it, and it eats at her. And the husband's response is pretty wonderful. I'm sorry. You shouldn't be apologizing to me. I was happy too. I've been happy all this time. And he doesn't say it was right of you to steal from Akane or anything about Akane. He just says that he has been happy with her. And that's what she needs right now. And that he needs her. And the way that he says, let's go home, also is to say that home that you've been going to is not your home. Your home is here with me. Let's go. Let's go back to home. Let's go home. Let's go back to our home. I forgot that it doubles down on making that even more clear. Let's go back to our home. So they do. And so it fades, and so she dies. And Akane, having had her life stolen from her, having wandered alone in isolation in the shadow for like 60 years, given permission and the opportunity to take someone else, turns on her heel and begins to walk away and chooses not to inflict that upon anyone else, regardless of their age or what they've done to you. Okay, Akane. That's some self-sacrificing shit right there. I also would like to note that it's very impressive to me that with only one color, we are able to demonstrate the relatively complicated motion of like someone fully spinning on their heel with the cloth around it. Like, that's pretty impressive to me that we can do that in just that snap of a cut, and she begins walking away. That's pretty cool to me. But he reaches out and he touches her shadow, and he chooses to go into it. The first character who has chosen to go into it that we know of. Which means, to some extent, maybe it will just stay that way and he will just wander forever. And no one else will need to be sucked into that world of shadow and loneliness. That's pretty fucking cool. I like this episode a lot. It has a lot of elements of choice, and the choice to inflict pain on another in order to relieve one's own pain is a very important, very human kind of choice. And I think it's one that pretty much everyone is going to have to grapple with at some point. And that's very interesting to me. I think that there's a lot to think about in this episode and a lot to let sink in. And I think it's also really, really extraordinarily well paced and executed to tell such a complicated and emotionally fraught story in a really, really excellent way. So I am going to check who episode directed this one just to see. Jesus. Yasuhiro Genshi, 3 through 13 odd. So this episode is the last one of those that he directed. Yasuhiro Geshi. Sorry, that actually rings more of a bell. I'm curious about who that is. I'm also curious about animation director Mitsuko Baba, who we've seen before listed, and Terumi Nishii, we've seen before listed. It's not unlikely that one of these individuals is responsible for that head shaking cut, but it's also impossible to know for sure because there are a bunch of key animators listed as well, so it could be any of them. But let me check Yasuhiro Geshi for episode direction. Gets Standalone Complex a couple episodes. This guy is an episode director. Like, I don't see any director credits. I see a lot of episode director credits. Everything from Katekyo Hitman Reborn to Silver Spoon to Yuri on Ice to Tsuritama. So some things with some great animation and like great staffs to some like basic ass shonen stuff. Guy's been around and done a lot of stuff. Hard to say. Terumi Nishii apparently designed anime Miley Cyrus. Diamond is Unbreakable. Character designer, animation director, chief animation director for Diamond is Unbreakable. Okay. CAD for multiple episodes of Jujutsu Kaisen. A lot of Mushishi stuff. Worked on Utena. Worked on some Precure. We've looked this guy up before. Animation directed for like 3 episodes of Death Note. Has a bunch of credits all over the place. Cool. Oh, and did key animation on Heartcatch. Cool. And then Mitsuko Baba, we've looked up before. Key animation on Gunbuster, as well as Ouran High School Host Club, as well as Hiroaka stuff and other things. Also worked a bunch on Diamond is Unbreakable as well. So that's interesting. Cool. Hard to say anything super interesting there, but I think that whoever was responsible for pacing and timing out this episode, which I guess is more of a storyboard credit, right? That would be more like the storyboarder would be responsible for that. And that is Hiroshi Nagahama. Worked on Fruits Basket, worked on fully directed most of Mushishi, right? Yeah, because that's why I recognize that name. He's the director. Okay. That guy. Also worked on Utena a bunch. Okay, all right. Yeah. Also, key animation on Stink Bomb. Cool. That was a good section of that film. I like this episode a ton. Because of how long this discussion has gone, this is the only one we're gonna do today. I think it's really interesting. I think the element of human choice and the specific nature of the choices made in this episode are deeply fascinating. And again, I think it could be an interesting episode if it were just Mushi stuff, right? The Mushi just steals people and trades them out at random. That's pretty neat. You can make a full episode about it. Having the people decide, though, meeting these characters and making us like feel empathy for both Akane and Mikage, especially for Mikage, having seen her grow up, see her like be a delightful and endearing old grandma who then breaks down feeling this terrible regret and guilt at what she has done in her past is absolutely stellar character work. It's great emotional storytelling, and I really, 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 really like it. Nice. I think that's my whole take on Mushishi this isn't Hihamukage. Mushishi Zoku Show episode 13, aka season 3, episode 3, aka season 2, episode 3. Fuck. It's pretty fucking great. Again, that's 3 for 3, right? Like, episode 1 was fantastic. Episode 2 was stellar. Episode 3 knocked it out of the park. Can this chunk of Zoku Show do wrong? I don't think so. I think it's just nailing it over and over, and I'm really impressed. Good stuff. I'm going to wrap there. I've been Teeaboo. This has been Mushishi Zoku Show 13. Just leave it there. I hope you've enjoyed it, or at least experienced it as much as I have, and I hope to catch you next week for more. If you want next week's reaction a little bit early, it'll be up on the Patreon. Check that out in the description, and I'll see you there. Peace.